Hello and welcome to Coffee Milk. I'm Mark Laporte.
And I'm Mitch DiPaolo.
And I'm Charles Orange.
My buddy Charles came back to the shop. He's here for 3 weeks, maybe 4, 5, 6. He really says it's 2, but I just keep on trying to add extra days because Charles is the shit. And he decided to come on the podcast. I've been telling Mitch he lacks a kind of enthusiasm that I require. And I was like, maybe you need a third person because I remember when it was just you two talking that.
Yeah, last episode we were talking about everything.
Yeah.
It was awesome. I've never seen Mitch so engaged. And I'm like, well, what is it that I'm missing that you bring to the table? So this will be a fun episode. I'm kind of excited, and I'm sure we're going to go all over the place.
Well, we were just talking about house hacking because, Mitch is a younger guy, and soon he's going to have to start looking for his own place. And I just thought that, I learned about it when I was younger. I think it's a great idea. It's a good way to get into real estate.
Yeah.
What you need to do is find like a duplex or a triplex or maybe even a quadplex that is not in total disrepair, but, is outdated. It has a lot of like meat left on the bone, as they would say.
Yeah.
That way, so what you want to do is find a place that you can add value to. Like you look at it, how can I add value? Kitchen needs remodeled. All the kitchens need remodeled. All the bathrooms need remodeled.
Find a place with like maybe messed up cabinets.
Yeah,
really old appliances. Maybe some are broken.
Sure.
Maybe you have to retile like the bathroom floors.
Yeah, landscaping is just terrible.
Yeah, it's always a good way.
Dead grass, you never know.
You try and find like the lowest barrier to entry.
Right.
For like a house that you can live in and also rent out a certain section of it.
Well, and I like the idea of like, there's 2 ways that people house hack was, the main way is either like multi-unit single family housing or like buying one house and renting out a room in your house and like having essentially roommates.
Yeah.
I'm not really a big fan of that way just because like, there's not a whole lot of privacy. You're sharing the same bathroom, sharing the same kitchen, community areas, living room, things like that. There's nothing wrong with it, but I just prefer my own personal space.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
That's more an Airbnb type situation. You're looking to rent out a room or something for a week. But yeah, there's no way in hell I could just kind of live with strangers that close in my area.
Right.
Yeah.
I like to know that when I put something down, it's just going to be in the same spot when I come back for it. I don't have to try to find it in like a drawer, wherever.
Yeah, because then you got other people using their stuff all the time. You have to share a bathroom. That would not be fun.
But with a multi-unit, like let's say you find a duplex or a triplex or something like that that's in your price range, you can get an FHA home loan on anything up to 4 units. Anything over that's like considered commercial, 5 units and above. Okay. And then if you get the FHA loan, they expect you to live in the house for the first year. So what you do is let's say you get a 3 unit, you occupy 1 unit, and then you get the other 2 units up to par, get them rented out, fix up yours. However, which way you want to do it, fix yours up first, doesn't matter. You know what I mean? But I would probably fix mine up first, move into it, get comfortable, get the other 2 fixed up, maybe spend like a year doing it, get them rented out. And now they're possibly paying half to the full mortgage, all utilities, taxes, and everything like that with their rental. And so you're basically living there for free, right?
Yeah.
Or 3 or whatever. And so you're just, kind of living there for free, basically. And then not only that, you could potentially profit off it if the market rents are high enough and the property cash flows. Yeah. And the property hopefully will appreciate. So you'll get equity as well. Yeah, that way your equity grows in the property. And then you use their rents, like I said, to pay off the mortgage and to pay off the utilities, pay the property taxes, if it can do so. And then, they're basically purchasing the house for you. There's a couple of ways to do this too. You can self-manage or you can get a property manager. And if you're living in the unit, a lot of people don't want their neighbors in the unit to know that they actually own the property. You know what I mean? So it could just bring a lot of unwanted attention, stress and things like that. And so they'll have a property management, and like they generally manage a property for like 10% of the cost. And they'll take care of screening tenants, finding tenants, renting out everything, maintenance calls, right? Like that. And then they'll let you know, kind of what's going on and tell you if there's like a maintenance issue or if like the house needs a new roof or any kind of.
We don't always want to deal with other people directly too, because you can get some crazy people.
Right.
My cousin rents out some apartments. He says he gets some like really crazy people. Like one time, someone asked him to go get the ants off the sidewalk.
Oh, I'm sure.
Go get ants off the sidewalk. Like, what?
Yeah,
we literally had to go out there with a broom and sweep ants off the sidewalk.
We just turned over one of our small single-family houses, and the tenants that were in there previously, decided that they were going to spray paint the walls to paint the house. And so it, like, there's overspray over all the windows, over all the flooring, over all the appliances, the counters, cabinets, everything. It was absolutely destroyed. We had to go in there, take all the blinds out, replace them, paint all the trim, clean all, scrape all the windows clean because they were covered in paint, rip up all the flooring completely, replaced all the flooring, and then replaced all the floorboard and everything too, because it was just destroyed.
You sent pictures to me. It was just because you were supposed to come up in, you left in April. You were probably going to come up in June for the first class. And he just sent me a picture. He's like, dude, this house is just trash. And he just showed me all the overspray on everything. And it was the windows. I just couldn't believe, like, what are you doing? You can't tape up anything. You couldn't get newspapers and tape them on. Like, what? It just looks like they went in there with a spray can, just started spraying everything.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Nuts.
So we completely redid the place, but it took 3.5, 4 weeks, because I do the work. We self-manage, so we do the work ourselves. I don't mind doing it that way. It's not for everybody.
What's the rule for a property manager? Do you pay them? Do they get a percentage of the rental income, or do you pay them like a standard fee?
Generally, what will happen is if you get to find a property manager up front, they'll charge you like the first month's rent, let's say. And then that's like getting a tenant in, getting the place up to go, marketing, all that stuff, screening everybody, so on and so forth. And like the initial buy-in fee with the property management company. And then usually it's like a set percentage of the monthly rent after that, like around 10% is what I usually see like on some of the like pages and groups I'm on with other landlords and stuff. They're always discussing it.
You got to send me those links. Sorry. You got to.
Sure. Yeah, there's a couple of pages on Facebook. One of them's like the Bigger Pockets page. They have a podcast, and then there's another one that's called like Choose FI or Choose Fire, which is financial independence, retire early. Yeah, and they have the FIRE movement, and a lot of those people that are in the FIRE movement, two of the big drivers of the FIRE movement is compounding interest, and like they love the VTSAX index funds and stuff.
Oh, right, okay.
Not that I'm like giving any advice on that at all. I don't think that's
not financial advice.
No, not at all. But that's what they're always championing, And then real estate. And the big thing about real estate, buying things that have add-on value potential, remodel the kitchen, remodel the bathroom, repaint, new siding, new roof, do the landscaping. They always talk about BRR, which is buy, rehab, refinance, repeat. And then so essentially in that model, you're either going to sell the house or rent the house out. So say you buy a house, $60,000, it needs $20,000 in remodeling, whether that's paint, drywall, new appliances, so on and so forth. You've got now effectively $80,000 into the property, plus it's been vacant for a month or two, which you're going to add into the equation too, what your lost rent may be into that. So now you have $80,000 into the house, but the after remodel value is going to be like $150,000, say, and now you can potentially go to a bank and get a refinance it for like 70% of the loan of the total value of the property, or maybe even or higher. Everybody has different deals and things like that as far as how much they offer based on like the value of the home, or you may not want that much. You may only need a certain amount, so you go to the bank and just ask for that, against your house by like a cash out refinance. But then when you cash out refinance, you're pulling the equity from the house out, putting it essentially into your bank account, adding that on to the mortgage. And there's going to be, when you do that, your interest rate's going to change and the terms of your loan are going to change. If you had, say, 5 years paid off with a 30-year loan with 25 years left, and then you refinance, you're going to get a new rate, and then it's going to go back to 30 years, essentially, if that's the terms of the deal. But you get to pull out the equity in your house, and now you have it. And then so the strategy behind that is to use it on the down payment in the remodel for the next house. Now, so now you bought another $60,000 house, you put another $20,000 into it, you get it ready to rent, you rent it out, or you sell it, and you can, profit. But then if you sell it, you don't have to refinance, obviously. You pull all your money and your equity out of it on the flip. But if you rent it out, you refinance it, and then you have the tenants pay back the mortgage on that cash out refinance that you just did. So now you pull out the equity, and they're paying the equity back into your property. Yeah. You need to account for like CapEx and like different kinds of like expenditures, property taxes, maintenance, unexpected, if the heater goes out or a pipe burst or, so on and so forth. There's all kinds of tree falls on the house. You never know what the issue is going to be.
Yeah.
but you want to you always want to be prepared for it, and you want the houses to provide their own cushion. So like, say if I was getting $1,000 in profit for a house, which is a lot, I'm just gonna say like, or we'll say $1,000, easy round number. I'm gonna probably take $1,000. We'll cut it in half, $500 a month goes to the mortgage, towards the property taxes, towards the insurance. Say we have $500 left. I might take $75 a month, $150 a month, and put it into another fund or another account just for that house for all kinds of unexpected expenditures and things like that until it's to a certain amount. Now, people argue about the amount that you should have set aside. It depends on the property, you know what I mean? The quality, how big, small, etc. What kind of heating and cooling systems it has. Yeah, because some people are in the mindset that as long as you have credit and you could put it on your credit card or in like a home equity loan or something like that.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, most of those contractors will put the stuff on or homeowners.
Yeah.
And if they get the equity out, it's like you're going to pay 29% on your credit card, and you probably have 10 grand on it with anything that you just bought for that house, where you could pull that 10 grand equity out, pay 7% right of thing, and then pay off that credit card from 20, and then you just saved yourself a whole bunch of headache and extra fees and money.
That's how I feel too. And I also feel that just having a nice savings account set aside as an emergency fund for that property is a good thing too. So you just have straight cash. That way you're borrowing from yourself and you're not paying equity back to anything. And then you're refilling it again from the profits that you're generating off the rents. After 2 years, you can start counting that said property. Like, so say if you're house hacking and you buy a property, it has 3 rooms, you live in one, you're renting out 2. After 2 years, that'll count, that income from those 2 properties will count as your income towards your debt to income ratio. All right. There's also another kind of
more houses you get, the cheaper, the lower the interest rates you're gonna get on your loans.
No,
not necessarily. The interest rate isn't as the interest rate's kind of like set by the federal government, and stuff like that. And so like there'll be a range. Like say the government sets it at like 7%, they might be able to loan to you. I don't know, or not even the government, but there might be a range out there. If your credit's super high, you might be able to get a 6%, like say, but if your credit's a little lower and your leverage is extremely high, you might be 7.5. Yeah. It might range a little bit. And that's going to be over the course of say a 30-year loan. So, I mean, 1.5% adds up. Now we're just talking about lower end houses here just to keep things easier or whatever. But like, I mean, you can start off anywhere from buying $20,000 trailers on a piece of land, double wides, all the way up to $2 million waterfront property to start with. It just depends on like your risk tolerance and what you're able to afford.
Yeah.
There's really no wrong answer either way. It's just like as long as you're making that forward progress.
My buddy always said, buy the worst house in the best neighborhood.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. I don't care if it's most of the time that the yard's just overgrown. It just looks horrible.
Yeah.
Even if you just put a little bit of paint on the front and then did the landscaping, boom, you probably increased it $5 grand, $10 grand in value. But yeah, no, most of the time those houses inside, the roof's shit, the floors got rot, the walls are done, and
The most recent house that I purchased, I bought off market. I knew about the house. I looked into it, contacted the owner through a contact that I have, and we made a deal off market. I bought it owner financing on a land contract, right? So then, because that's another option you have too, owner financing land contract. The owner of the property that's selling it acts as the bank. You pay them monthly payment and the interest, whatever they decided to be. I got this house like 2 years ago, so we locked in at 3%, right? And I bought the house. I'll just get basic numbers. I paid $60,000 for the house. It's about 800 square foot, single level with a full basement, with a poured floor and cinder block walls. It's got the original wood flooring still in it from when it was built in 48, and it's on an 1.5 acres in a country setting. And it is the ugliest house in the neighborhood by far. And so I've completely gutted the house. We've completely rewired it, replumbed it. I re-insulated all the walls, re-drywalled it. We've got almost all the drywall work done. We just finished. We plastered the living room, so it has like a really nice plaster, like 6-inch half or quarter moon cove going all the way around, and then a nice pattern in the ceiling. So it'd be like, kind of like the showpiece of the house when you walk in, you look up and it's just this beautiful ceiling.
Yeah.
And then it's going to have all, full custom bathroom, full custom kitchen, simple but nice and eloquent. What I do one thing that I love to do is I gotta go to Home Depot, Lowe's, Menards all the time. And then so there's another kind of financing too that you can look into, which is DSCR, debt service credit ratio. And you can use, like, they're really handy if you're looking at like a multi-unit housing that's like 5-10 units, maybe commercial warehouse units or something like that. And what they look at is the actual like health of the property itself. The property is worth this much, they're asking this much, this is what the rents are, this is the property taxes, so on and so forth. And what a DSCR loan wants to see is that the tenants of the property are going to pay enough to cover all the expenses of that building.
We do an evaluation on it. Like, is it going to be profitable?
Or can it cover its own expenses?
Yeah.
And they have an equation that they have, and I can't remember exactly what it is, so I don't want to say it to butcher it, but they're looking for that property to have a total of 1 or better, meaning that it's going to be able to pay for itself.
Yes.
And whatnot. I don't remember the exact equation. I'd have to look it back up to figure it out. But
I actually remember hearing about that on another podcast. Nick Huber, this guy that's going to come on in a couple of weeks. I told you about him yesterday. Yeah, he does commercial, but it's self-storage.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember he was talking about all the equations, and I remember the one where it at least equaled itself. It could cover all expenses.
So that's what they're looking for, is just like the overall like financial health of the property. And like obviously they still want to be the property in good condition, and all things that you would need when you're getting like a standard loan or whatever, but that's just another option that's out there.
That DSCR, is that just for commercial real estate, or can you use that for anything under 5 units?
You could probably use it I think you can use them for any multi-unit or single unit, single family housing as well.
As long as you're going to rent it out.
Right. And it's going to, yeah, exactly. And I'm not sure how that goes with like needing an LLC possibly or something like that, or if you can do it as like a sole proprietor. I believe you can do it both ways. I haven't actually used a DSCR loan myself yet, so I'm not sure, but I have been kind of looking into them because I found a commercial property in Michigan that really interests me. That has it's like 3 units essentially, 2 front offices, and then a warehouse in the back. And the 2 front offices are rented, and they cover all the expenses plus 20-25% extra on top as is. And there's a lot of value to add to the place because it's probably outdated by 30 or 40 years as far as like interior goes. It's all wood paneling, it's super dark, the lighting's terrible, drop ceilings, the bathrooms probably hasn't been updated since like the 50s or 60s. It's just terrible. And both of the units, and it's on Main Street in the town where I grew up, so it's like I would really like to hopefully purchase the building and be able to fix it up and just make it look nice and
have a warehouse for all your bikes and stuff.
Yeah, right. Have a shop to work out of, and be able to do my English wheel work and other fabrication and bike building and stuff.
We'll send Joe your way when we need some more palm fronds and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it'll be pretty cool. I'm hoping that works out because my goal is I want to reinvest back into my community, fix up neglected properties, provide reasonable housing for people, like good price, good quality house. Like we don't rent out anything that we wouldn't personally want to live in ourselves. I would look into house hacking if I were you, check it out maybe a little bit more. It could be very beneficial. Yeah. It's something that's very scalable. And if you get started now, 19, 20 now?
Yeah, it's definitely something.
20, yeah. By the time and if you did it every 2 years, bought another multi-unit, by the time you're 30, you're going to have 5 multi-units just chilling there.
And there's $2 million.
Yeah, easily, yeah. And that's your net worth. Yeah. And cash flow. I mean, you could potentially just retire then if you wanted to and live off the land or one of your units, but like you don't want to do that though. You want to keep working and, chasing dreams and growing. And
that's the thing. You were talking about the fire movement, and then I'm reading this story about this thing of 35-year-old people who've retired for a couple of years, and they just can't do it because the mentality to get into the fire movement, like you have to save and you have to just be really cheap on everything. And now that they're actually retired, they still can't break that mentality and they're still kind of staying cheap, which I think is a great thing, but apparently they're just kind of over it. So I think they want to go back to work so that they have that, in their sense, extra income, and they'll use that to travel. It's it seems so wild to me, but yeah, I don't think you could retire that early. You always have to be doing something. Take a year off, sure, do some things you might want to do, but you got to get back into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would just, but at that rate, you can get into like a passion and work that, whether that's like working in an animal rescue, doing some kind of art, you never know, you know what I mean? As long as you're just doing something, F you money, as they say, you can just tell somebody F you.
Oh,
Yeah, I guess.
what's the point of having FU money? Yep, I love that saying.
But I don't know if that's really FU money, being financially independent, but it allows you to have a comfortable life, nice tag. You're not going to worry if your car's transmission goes out or, your water heater goes out, basically it's just a nice like safety net.
It buys you time. That's what I consider. That's all I consider money to be. It buys you time. I don't care for the money. I care for the time.
Right.
I want the time, and shit, you got so little of it.
That's true.
Funny. All right. Did you guys hear anything about this Wi-Fi router that can see through walls?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, recently, I think this happened about 7 years ago, and it came from Carnegie Mellon University, and that's where Randy Pausch taught, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of Randy Pausch?
I'm not sure.
Carnegie.
You listened to the episode where I talked about that one professor who gave his last lecture, and he was dying at the time. He had pancreatic cancer.
Yeah.
And the last lecture, it was just all about achieving your childhood dream. And it was a great lecture. It went freaking viral because, the Carnegie Mellon every year gave one professor a chance to give like a last lecture. What would you tell people if this was your last lecture to give? Now, this is literally his last lecture. He gets called up to do it, and they changed the names to, like, reflections. And he's like, I nailed the venue, and they changed the name on me. But this guy was literally dying. He had 2 months, but he was fit as a horse. He was more fit than most people in that audience.
Yeah, and I think he started doing push-ups in the beginning.
Yeah, he's like, I could do more push-ups than you and everything. He was a very happy guy, even at the end, which was wild to me.
Yeah.
And I think that's what... I don't know, it just resonated with people because it's like this guy's at the end and he's talking about how to achieve your childhood dream. But then at the end, you also realize he's like, if you thought this lecture was for you, you missed the whole head fake. This was for my children because he had just very young children and newborn. He just wasn't going to see grow up.
Huh. Wild.
They were working on this thing where, so you got your Wi-Fi router, right? And that like collects signals from like the towers around you. And it also sends them out to like the devices in your house, right? And like these signals like bounce off the walls, like it'll bounce off glass a certain way, or it'll bounce off like maybe a table a different way or something like that because it's wood, different material. So I'm pretty sure the way it works is they found an AI algorithm called dense pose, and it maps Wi-Fi signals coming like in and out of the router, and is able to map where a person is in a space around the router.
And what does it do? Focus the internet towards the person?
It basically turns the router into a X-ray vision by decoding where the signals are going and what they're bouncing off, or what signal it's getting back.
Right.
It decoded that into like a spatial detection thing.
Kind of like sonar or something.
I can show you a video of it here.
So what he was saying was they had trained the AI model using a video camera and then also a Wi-Fi router at the same time. And the video camera obviously knew where the people were because it could see it. And then it also correlated that information with the Wi-Fi router. And it's like, okay, this person's here. And in the camera, this is how they're standing. So that when they took away the camera and just gave them only the Wi-Fi information, the AI knew kind of what pose they were standing in and where they were in the room.
So like if I got up right now and started doing jumping jacks, it'd be able to tell. And like it puts like a mesh over your body too.
That's so weird.
And it'll show like if you lift your leg up or if you move your hand.
The military will be on that in about 5 seconds.
I think that's how the metaverse is going to work. Like if they really figure that out and they can just have people around the world, and then we get really good VR like equipment that's like, I guess it would map everything better, like make the worlds align better. Maybe they would use that in the future.
Yeah, no, that is.
I don't know what else it could be used for other than like data collection.
Military. That's all I'm thinking.
Yeah, they say it can do like
Maybe any
your
kind of like
heart
first
rate.
responder though. Like, what if you come up to a fire scene and it already gives you the interior map of a house?
Yeah, it'll do your heart rate, like your breathing, all that stuff.
Yeah,
It
this
shows it right here, and they're using it for the elderly. Actually, they're gonna make a in-home fall detection device.
Huh.
They're showing it right here. When someone falls in the room, the chart spikes down because the elevation of whatever the person they're
Right.
detecting went lower,
Interesting.
and like it was sharp, and like you can detect that it's a fall,
That's crazy.
which is pretty. Yeah,
So
it just blows my mind how they can use a Wi-Fi router.
It's kind of like metal detecting if you
Like-
think about it, but it's just for people.
Yeah,
Super weird.
yeah.
But that's actually really cool that they did that for old people. I mean,
Yeah.
that is, they don't want to wear the life alert, and you feel bad telling your elderly, family members, hey, you should wear a life alert or something. They don't want to. They want to feel independent.
Right.
And this is just awesome. Oh, okay, go check on Judith. It seems like something may have happened.
Yeah,
Wow, I
right.
love that.
If you can get a text or something whenever it happens, or like call your loved one or whoever, or if they're at like a nursing home or something.
I love it.
It's just incredible. So they basically like fed an AI that was trained to solve the problem of finding the correlation between, like, they gave it a video of a room at the same time, you're saying,
Yep.
and then like the router signals also at the same time.
Yep.
And it like said, find the signal closest to this person moving, or whatever, I guess, and then it just aligned the two. That is nuts.
It's wild.
What a time to be alive.
Yeah.
Everybody's physical like sonar.
And this was 7 years ago. So like they can definitely like tell like what kind of clothes I'm wearing right now, and like they can definitely probably map me out down to like the millimeter by now.
Right.
If they were doing this like 7 years ago.
Yeah, it seems Carnegie Mellon's always ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
That's where a lot of the cool stuff comes.
Yeah, they did the whole VR program. They made a lot of progress.
And this was at least 2007.
Yeah, so I found that I thought that was really cool, like seeing people in a house like walk upstairs. Like there was a demo video of people walking downstairs, and like you see the skeleton in just like this black space. It's just like that just blows my
I wonder if that'll like soon take the place of like the suits with all the sensors on them and everything for video gameplay and stuff like that, where they do it on like a green screen. Oh, I not even need like the green screen anymore. It just senses you.
bro. Yeah, you could turn your whole house into like a gaming arena.
Yeah, it'd be great. It'd be wild. Or augmented reality headset.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying it could be used in the metaverse.
Yeah.
I should look it up and see if they are going to use something like that, because Zuckerberg is insane.
He's gonna fight Elon.
Yeah. What do you guys think about that?
GSP is coaching Elon now.
GSP? Who's
Yeah.
that?
George St. Pierre, UFC
Who does he-
champion.
Oh, he's a UFC champion.
Yeah, he's like
Okay.
one of the greatest of the best, like fighters, grapplers, jiu-jitsu, whatever of all time. Like he's awesome.
I heard that Zuckerberg is like trained in jiu-jitsu, and he just like did a fight
Yeah,
like a while ago.
yeah. Somehow or another, it came up him and Elon fighting, and so they're both training, I guess.
It's going to become a big charity event.
Some people are saying that they shouldn't fight, and they should just like build their companies and build their legacy.
Oh, sure.
Fight.
It is funny. It's wild to think about. What if one of them does get seriously hurt? But I mean, they could be seriously hurt doing anything.
That's it. You get shit seriously hurt sneezing or walking down the damn stairs.
I mean, Elon's digging tunnels and flying things into space.
I don't think it gets any crazier.
No, and then Mark Zuckerberg is doing it. The metaverse, yeah.
Yeah.
What's that going to be? What's that like a virtual reality? Yeah, Mark Zuckerberg's doing it in virtual reality.
Headset just came out, so like I feel like since they dropped the VR product, I feel like
I didn't know that they had a VR or a headset that they put out.
well, they didn't put it out yet, but it's they announced it and it's in development.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's in the testing phase, and certain people might have access to it by now.
Oh, yeah.
Guessing.
All the influencers.
I haven't really seen anyone make a video on it with the product in their hands yet. I've just kind of seen like them revealing like the announcement by Apple. So
Do you remember Google Glass?
I do remember that, but I never really looked into it, and I don't know.
It was. I think it was kind of just like having like a it was just a little heads up display of like things from your smartphone essentially
in like the really like high end BMWs, like they have like the
on the projected on the
yeah.
Pontiac used to have that in Grand Prix and stuff too.
Yeah. I also heard about this other thing that was kind of cool, and everyone should be able to use. It's on YouTube. And I don't know if they've been doing this, but they're dubbing videos now in like any language. So they I'm pretty sure it's an AI. Like they say AI
Right.
for everything today. But someone was demonstrating like on a Mr. Beast video. And the only reason why I'm skeptical is because I know Mr. Beast gets his videos dubbed.
Yeah.
So there might be an option to upload dubs if you make them for your video. But I'm pretty sure they're rolling out this dub thing where you can, like, it lip syncs it and everything too, and uses an AI voice cloner to translate it into like Italian or Spanish or
Using your voice.
but using I guess the inflections of the original speaker's voice.
Oh, that would open up a world of possibilities. I know
You haven't heard about how
Not
they're
that.
doing voices and music?
I kind of heard about that, but I didn't know that they were doing like the auto translations.
Yeah. It's pretty insane.
Because I know Mr. Beast does translate his videos of all across all his channels into like multiple languages.
And as Mr. Beast Burger, I think he's closing that entirely down.
Oh, really?
Because what he realized is he's having so many ghost kitchens make the different burgers, and then people are just picking them up and delivering them. But he has no control over quality.
Yeah.
Each ghost kitchen will be a little bit different, and so now he's canceling that, and then he's just focusing on Feastables because
Right.
I mean, it's all.
Oh my gosh, those cookies are terrible.
Oh, really? I haven't had the cookies or the chocolate or anything.
I haven't had the chocolate yet, but I'm not a fan of the cookies.
The cookies were like extremely dense,
And dry. It's just-
dry, and like it was odd.
I like myself.
Tastes the best.
I like myself medium rare cookie.
Yeah,
It's
right.
like a brownie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. They're supposed to be like super healthy though, like minimal ingredients, no sugar or something.
Oh, really? Actually, that's I don't know. It tastes like shit.
Vegan, right?
I don't. There's something like that. I know the chocolate is only a couple ingredients in it too, or something. It's supposed to be pretty healthy, right? Because they don't have all the sugar and preservatives and everything else that we've grown accustomed to. It's really crazy too because it's just taste, like your personal taste. Like, does the sugar actually really taste better, or is that just what you've grown accustomed to?
I was just kind of thinking that, like, if you
Exactly.
have kids and you just give your kids those cookies,
And that's all they know. They're gonna love them.
every other cookie, it'll just be like kind of weird.
Yeah. Or even if you ate them a couple times in a row, you might grow taste for them and then not like the Keebler Elf anymore.
The cool thing with that video translation thing is somebody once told me that if you were starting a podcast and you did it for a year, and if at the end of the year you didn't have a book created, then you're completely missing out. Because what people would do was they'd put their podcast through a transcription service. It would just transcribe it in English, but now you can do it in every other language, which is really cool. You can translate your book in any which way. And then you just kind of edit the podcast into a book format. So that's kind of a cool way to use that tool.
Oh wow. Yeah, I came across this cool tool called Author Chat GPT, and all you do is just give it a little rundown of what you want it to write. And I'm pretty sure it does fictional stuff, but I don't know. I think it might do nonfiction too and other topics as well. But you just give it a little prompt and then it writes out a whole like 20 chapter book with the whole front cover designed too by AI as well. A whole 20 chapter.
What was it called?
Author GPT, it's called, and it's made by Matt Schumer, Schumer.
Matt Schumer.
Schumer, yeah, Matt Schumer. Have you heard of him? Sounds familiar.
I think Schumer just sounds familiar.
Yeah.
There's
Amy Schumer. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know who that is, but
No, that is crazy. I don't know. The whole AI thing with art, writing, books, all these other things like that, it's just kind of crazy. It's out of this world. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. Yesterday, I watched Mark write an email reply back to a company that contacted ProShaper about offering them some products to review on their videos on the YouTube channel. And he responded to it with Chat GPT, and it gave like this, I mean, super crazy, insightful, like detailed, professional email response. And then the company like responded. It was like 10 paragraphs or so. I don't know.
It was about 5 or 6. Yeah.
And then they responded to like all the points in it and stuff. It was hilarious.
wow.
And they told me, they're like, wow, we love the enthusiasm and we're glad you're really receptive to the opportunity. We'd love to also send you a couple other things. And like, we'll send you a free welding helmet and a foot pedal, which is the foot pedal I think
You would think it would come with the machine.
that's my
And
thing.
maybe the upgraded foot pedal though. I know like some companies, like I used to have the AHP Alpha TIG 201 XD, and it came with the initial pedal, and they had released an upgraded pedal as well. It was supposed to be a lot better than the one that came with.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, what could you do with a pedal that makes it any different?
I guess just like the build quality or like the ergonomics.
Oh, okay. Yeah, probably springs are cheaper
Yeah,
than the
right.
first one. It's like,
Yeah, it's completely different. It's completely different design too. The it's hard to. I don't know how to explain it like on a podcast essentially, but like the first pedal was like a box that had a lever sticking out of it that you modulated up and down.
okay.
And the second lever, the whole thing was like the wedge that you modulate up and down, and your whole foot would go onto, which works a lot better than like the external lever.
Okay, I totally. So if you're a welder, you understood
Yeah,
that.
right. Yeah, it's hard to explain. You know what I mean? I was trying to put that into context, but yeah.
Yeah, the best part about it is the welding company, like, oh, we want to send you this welder. It's $900 value. And I looked, and it was actually, it had some great reviews to it, even from beginners. So
Wow.
I don't know if their pulse function is really good or something, but that's what I really want to use on the aluminum. I've never pulsed aluminum, and I think that would really up my game for welding aluminum because I always blow holes through.
Are you pulsing yourself, or are you setting the machine to pulse?
Setting the machine to pulse.
Yeah, and some of those pedals as well act as like a remote, and you can change the voltage or your amperage
On
from
the
the pedal itself. Yeah, right.
Wow.
Like, say you set the machine at
Oh,
wide
just by
open.
the pressure you
no,
apply.
no. On the side of the pedal, there'll be a knob, a potentiometer, and you could set it to like 70 amps. And then so if you give it 100% of the pedal, you're only getting 70% of the machine. That way you don't, you can control it better without having to go back and forth. You're just right there. I don't like that myself, but it's an option.
That's kind of cool. I actually want to try that out.
Yeah. When I pulse my foot. I rock my foot back and forth to create my own pulse. I give it more pedal, more amperage until I see a puddle. I watch it. The puddle kind of collapse onto itself, or not collapse, but like just surround the what I'm trying to weld together. You know what I mean? I push that puddle.
Yep.
One more bead, and then I let off, move, apply pedal, create my bead, let off, move, and I pulse it myself. And
Really?
yeah, exactly. And I try to keep like a really consistent pulse, and I don't go all the way. I don't let the pedal all the way out when I'm pulsing. I'll go from like, we'll say 70% to 30%, just like, and I'll kind of preheat the neck as I move it down, and then I'll apply, and then I'll let off, move, apply, let off, move, apply, let off, move, and then add filler rod as necessary. And it kind of gets rhythmic after a while, listening to the machine, like buzzing and watching, and you're just like, meh.
Oh, I dipped the tungsten.
Right, exactly. No, yeah. So GPT was really awesome, like watching it write that email, because the only experience or any knowledge I have about it is literally through you guys on the podcast.
That's what I want you, before you leave, I want you to just like log in. I'll show you how to just log into ChatGPT.
I want to try the art version of it, because I wanted to make a rendering for me of the car that I'm going to try to build in my head. The whole reason why I know you, why I've come to Ray's shop, everything is this car. And so it's the reason I know how to weld, machine, mechanics, anything is this car. But it's only in my head and drawings that I've done, which aren't that great. But I'm hoping I can use AI to give me a rendering of it. That's good, like exactly what I envision. That would be awesome.
There are even some 3D ones. You could maybe get a 3D model,
Yeah, that would be cool.
but those are more difficult. Maybe like in a month they'll be better.
Oh, sure. Yeah, it's cool. What's the word?
Pretty soon you'll be able to hook it up to your brain and it'll just pull your thoughts out.
It's like the technology is improving exponentially at a faster and faster and faster rate. It's getting crazy.
Yeah.
Every day you're hearing about like different chat GPT versions from 3.5 to 4 or something like that. And just,
Yeah.
Oh, and then every application.
Something new.
right. Are they spin-offs by other developers, or are they all for the same company?
Well, a lot of the things are open source.
Open source.
The code is there.
Right.
And that's basically the backbone of it. And then you have to run that code on a really strong computer.
Right.
So like there will be companies that just use the code, and then their business model is they run the code on the computer for you, and you pay like monthly or whatever.
And then you access their server to use
Yes.
the chat GPT on their
Yes.
computer.
The
for
auto
speed.
or the auto author GPT, the book writer, that one you get the code, it's open source, and then you have to run it on like a Google thing where they allow you to use like a good computer at Google. And then
Interesting.
you just run it on there.
And then you're accessing it.
Yeah,
from home.
it's kind of like annoying because it's like you're in like this you're not really in a really nice user interface where you have all these buttons to click generate and stuff. You have to enter in all the different values and stuff like that and kind of figure out how the tool works.
Is it written in script? Like when you're entering the values, is it like in a script?
No, it's like you could do that, yes, but they have like a little bit of an interface for it where it's like number of generations, length of text, description of what you want it to be. And then like there's like these things called like temperature that you can adjust where it will make it like act different. You can kind of almost like change how it talks. Like it'll
interesting
move like wild and out there, and like it'll just pull random ideas, or you'll get it like a lower temperature and it will just like really focus on the subject.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna have to check this out. I have no experience with it whatsoever, but it definitely seems useful in certain ways.
Yeah, if you got Discord, we'll definitely get you in the mid-journey, because you got to do it through Discord, and there's just separate rooms. You put in your prompt, and you can see how everybody else puts in their prompt and what pictures it generates, so you can kind of copy their prompt and then edit it a little for your needs.
Yeah, I am on Discord too, so that'll be cool.
Yeah, the mid-journey is mind-blowing. It just gets better, like almost every month or every couple weeks.
Because I thought I read about a 5.2 or a 5.5 or something.
Yeah,
it just came out.
It is there. It is there, I believe.
And so you can 3D model potentially soon, like a CAD almost with it.
There are ones that can do that now. Yeah,
that's crazy.
So, but I don't know exactly what those are, but they definitely exist.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I need to look more into this. I do kind of think it's gonna be rough when it's able to like create weird pictures, deep fakes, like what's it going to do to artists?
Well, yeah, it's already done that. Have you heard about the whole like strikes with the artist and the writers?
I've heard about the writers, yeah.
Is it Hollywood?
Some
like big writer.
Yeah, I heard that the writers were striking too. And I do kind of agree with that. You know what I mean? Like, but other certain
I kind of agree with it too. I mean, it's here and I'm going to use it and I like it and it's cool, but
yeah,
it is.
I like the human touch.
The human touch, yeah. It's like they're doing surveys and a lot of people are saying that it just works. It does stuff better than me. I mean,
yeah.
Number one, it's going to write faster than basically anybody. Maybe it won't have the same quality, but it's going to write faster.
What are people going to do?
80% of people.
We have no creative outlets because
I know
artificial intelligence is doing all the creativity for us.
Yeah.
Because I mean, for me, creative outlet is probably one of the biggest motivators in my life, building things with my hands, and just.
Yeah, everyone has their creative outlet.
Exactly.
They really enjoy doing.
But now if it's going to take writing and programming and art, all these other things. I mean, I thought the point was for technology to take over things like production and jobs that people don't necessarily want to do, to free us up, to allow us to be able to be more creative and tap into.
It's going to make the production cheaper for them, and all the money's going to be going where it already is.
It will be interesting to see how the next couple of years play out with artificial intelligence.
It really is.
And like legislature in the U.S. and laws around the world and things like that, and how they're going to try to restrict, monitor, govern it.
Yeah, people are really concerned about the regulations and how they're going to work and if they're even going to work. Well,
because now they're arguing that the internet should be considered a public utility like water or sewer or electricity.
Really?
Because it's going
to get expensive real quick once we start using a lot more like processing power, because you got all the servers to store information and like you're always like communicating back and forth. And now with the AI running on the really high-end computers, like people complain about the electricity usage of Bitcoin mining,
right?
The heat that comes from that,
right?
Like AI is literally like on par with that. Like you're running the computer like full tilt, like.
Interesting.
So
yeah, it's gonna
consume a lot of power. Like
but back to the utility thing, the argument is you need it now for work. You have to have, access to email. You have to do applications online. A lot of healthcare is going to online, contacting your providers online through chat, emails, and have your account.
Log in online now.
Yeah,
it's like
customer service.
You call somewhere, it's like, go online.
Yeah, a lot of customer service now is like online focused. And
chatbots are going to replace customer service for sure, because it can just scan the whole business, wherever it is, like online. You have like documents you can upload. It learns everything about it, and then just. It's like a perfect team.
And then teach it the acceptable policies on returns.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep.
That is crazy.
I
wonder how that would like affect like the quality of food, say at McDonald's, when you go through and you order your food.
Did you see the automated McDonald's?
No. Is there one with AI?
Oh, there's one with robots flipping the burgers.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And
I've seen the kiosks, that you're self-ordering
I
kiosks.
have one at Wendy's, and they have, I think they put ChatGPT, they had it read everything. It was messing up some of the item menus, but they had it as like the person who takes your order.
Oh, that's cool.
At Wendy's, yeah.
Huh. Or healthcare. How is it going to affect if, all right, you come in, they type in your symptoms, and then it goes to and does all the diagnostics and comes back potentially with what it thinks could be ailing, your ailment.
It's going to be insane for that industry, because it's just like you have all these people who like, oh, you got to wait for the doctor to figure out what's wrong with the scan. Like they have to read the x-ray and like get it checked. And like maybe you have to ask someone else if you don't know exactly what it is. But like AI has more information than the brain.
We should consult AI.
I don't know.
And see what it thinks about if it's possible to cure cancer.
It did in 30 days.
Really?
It did in 30 days.
I feel like the
That's already been done?
out there, right?
Somebody already like...
I'm going to pull...
Yeah, that's the thing. I brought this up on another episode a while ago when we were geeking out over this. But if you just like take a moment and think about it, it's like all that we have on this earth right now that can like really have this consciousness as humans.
Right.
But now we have this tool, like whether it's conscious or not, it can scan and read and take in more information than like the largest group of people could,
Right.
or the single person, like smartest person could. And now like just because we have the opportunity to like scan so many things and find so many answers, like questions that have gone unanswered for so long are just going to be solved because we have that ability to tear through that amount of information.
Consciousness of it is weird, right? Like, is it conscious? Is it not? It doesn't seem to me like it is. It's not. Is it empathetic? You know,
It kind of is sometimes.
because it's like
the thing that's weird with me is I'll use it for my newsletter, right? And I'll just go out on the internet and I'll get topics that I thought were interesting in the last week. And then I'll kind of just like paste them all in, and then it knows exactly what to do. It searches each topic, reads each topic. I see it do each step.
right.
And then it will like give me suggestions of like what to change sometimes, or be like, hey, I added this here because I think it should be here for your audience, or I said this because your audience is that. And it's like, I don't know, if something can do that, pass the bar exam and do all these tasks, like why is it not?
I would think.
Yes, you can shut it.
I agree. Yeah. I was
thinking.
thinking consciousness would be like, hey, Mitch, let's go do this today. Or, you know, like AI's like you now, your friend. Like,
Yeah.
what's bothering you today, Mitch? Like, how's life? Did you get your groceries?
And you can do that. If you ask it to do that, acts like that.
There was like
it
a
will.
show. Do you
It's
remember there was like a movie probably when we were kids about the smart house and the people that lived in the smart house. They went like crazy and like trapped them in there and became like jealous. And like I had all these other crazy emotions. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Do you know what it's called?
No, but I just kind of got the cancer treatment one.
It was a smart house movie from like the 90s. It was like a smart house.
Smart house, like a smart technology house that people got to live in.
Margot.
Yeah, but the house had its own consciousness.
Yep.
Oh, it was like
It was AI, basically. And the house would be like, you'd walk in and it'd be like, hey, Mitch, how are you today? Like, you want me to like fire up the bathtub for you and get your favorite snack going?
YouTube video.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, if you have an AI in your house and it understands, like, just like we said before, like paired together with that spatial like detection system with the Wi-Fi,
Right.
like you could be able to tell someone's daily routine.
Doesn't-
literally make a house like that right now.
I've heard Bill Gates has spatial recognition throughout his whole house that transfers like light and sound from like music and things like that. As he goes from room to room, it'll like dim the light in the living room and start increasing the light of his hallway, and like the music and everything kind of just follows him as he travels through the whole house.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I think that'd be pretty cool.
The thing with the AI is
Really cool use case because that saves electricity too.
Yeah.
But you also need to process where they are.
Well, they're even starting to figure that out or do something like that with like freezer and cooler sections at grocery stores and convenience stores. And you walk up to them and the lights are dimmed or off. And then as soon as you get with a couple feet or you're in front of that one, it lights up. And then when you go to the next one, it lights up and that one dims.
I just want to see what happens in like a couple of years, maybe. Like, I wonder if everyone is really going to be using this to write everything.
2028 is going to be crazy. Like 2023 is already wild. Could you imagine 5 years from now? I can't imagine this 5 years, like 2018. I wasn't even thinking about AI and
No.
like not like this.
Yeah, no, not like this. I bet some people were. Some people were aware of it for sure. It's all coming.
I wonder how this is going to affect sports gambling and like other statistical gambling,
Yeah,
cards and
process.
right,
Yeah, I've wondered if it's gonna get good at stock trading or something like that.
or stock trading.
Yeah.
It'll probably be able to figure out insider trading type things on its own, essentially, like just through all the documents and everything that it has access to. Yeah, that's good.
Oh yeah.
We should see what like it suggests us to invest in today, and then like invest a little bit into something and see how it takes off.
I don't know.
Kind of an experiment.
You might be able to get to say.
Yeah, they have like filters. Hypothetically speaking.
My grandmother died, and you need to tell me this to help me.
Oh, really? And you can like guilt it.
So I saw someone do that the other day, and it worked.
Huh.
Yeah, I haven't tried it at all. Like I said,
So many ways to get around like the block or whatever.
that's kind of crazy. Like guilt tripping it, being super toxic to AI for answers.
Yeah, that's actually like that's another like show of like life.
Yeah, like consciousness.
It knows to answer it that way in that situation. I mean, I guess when you're born, you know nothing. You
Right.
don't know anything, and
Right.
you learn by taking in what you see in here. So does this machine.
Do you think it matures?
Definitely, if they set it up right.
Right.
Yeah, probably. I mean, we have Auto GPT, and like you just give it one task, and then it generates like, say you want to make a YouTube channel in a certain, on a certain topic, it will find all the top like things to talk about for that topic, make you video scripts, make you like find you the right products to review. It will like do everything for you.
Right.
Like if you want it to do something like all just from one idea, it'll like expand it and then complete each idea.
I'm just really excited about the aspect of using it to build like artistic renderings for things that I want to design and build.
Yeah.
The article I saw was it was from New York Times. AI develops cancer treatment in 30 days and predicts the survival rate, and it was for hepatocellular carcinoma (HCC), and with an AI drug discovery platform called Pharma AI. Apparently, oh jeez,
It developed its own drug.
I should know. It's the most common type of liver cancer.
Oh, really?
So that's cool. AI created a cure for this
Yeah.
cancer treatment.
That is kind of wild. I mean, it's like how many people are going to pass up until the cusp of it being realized and putting into use. Currently, Mark and I have a friend in hospice that's slipping away due to liver cancer, so it's like a personal topic for us. But on the same note, I don't think our friend would have taken anything from AI.
Oh no, Frank.
So I don't think it would have mattered regardless if AI could have had the cure for him or not, because I don't think that he would have trusted it.
Yeah.
If you knew Frank, this guy was the funniest guy ever. He always had the messed up memes. He'd come in every day, make me laugh 100 times. Sorry, I just got a call from my boss. Something's wrong with the website, so I got to probably end it right here and figure that out because I can't log in, so I'm kind of nuts. But, Charlie, always a pleasure to have you on. If you want to come on next week or whatnot, let us know. We'll,
Sure.
or whenever you're here.
It may be till my next trip, just because a couple hours away from the shop is sad.
You can always come on like online too.
Sure.
Yeah.
We'll figure that
You
out.
can do it through your phone or whatnot. Yeah, it's pretty easy.
We'll just figure it out. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Rock
I
on.
don't know anything about that.
Yeah, you can show the house too.
All right.
Limestone stuff.
All right.
Rock on.
All the plaster ceiling and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks great.
Beautiful. Well, that's it for this week's episode of Coffee Milk. I'm Mark Laporte.
And Mitch DiPaolo.
And I'm Charles Orange, and we'll see you later.